I have a lot going on in my life. I'm not really sure what the fuck I want to do. I've been, working for so long. I'm about to be 30 in a couple of, I think like a month actually. I think the thing is like a lot of shit has happened in the past like year. I was freelancing for like the past 6 years. And it got to the point where I kind of was letting everything around me like crumble, chasing this dream. And like I believed in it though. So I got to this point where like I had to make a decision whether or not I was going to let it destroy my life just to achieve this one thing, or if I was going to like get realistic and like kind of form the correct path where I like don't have to worry about like bills and stuff like that. Yeah, you get older and then you just have all these problems. We're constantly like troubleshooting, whether it's like through a relationship or a family drama or anything like that. And so sometimes it gets difficult to like navigate, especially just being one person who's never good at, I guess, communicating. Uh like in certain scenarios, I feel like I'm a good talker. It's just in certain scenarios I've just always had a hard time. Like I don't want to hurt people's feelings, stuff like that. So I figured that I would start filming myself, maybe not daily, but like weekly, as far as like progression goes. Um, I quit my freelancing job and immediately had to start, like to figure it out. I had no source of income, so I was like, okay, what can I do? Hopped on Indeed or whatever, and then just kind of spitballed ideas and things. Found a spot. I'm delivering packages, which is a fucking nightmare. It's not where I thought I was gonna be at 30 either. I'm 29, but I'm pretty much there. Feel like you have this like idea of where you're gonna be at in life, when you're younger, and you think, oh, it's gonna be like this, and then like growing up with social media and stuff, you start seeing people progressing differently. Like everybody's at different points in their life and stuff, but social media kind of only shows like the highlights, which is like upsetting to some people, including me. I mean, I make music and I was freelance videography um for the past 6 years. So it was, I had this like air about me, it's like an ego thing, that I had to like tackle, and it was super difficult to really like come to terms with it. Like when I got this job delivering, I was like super upset, and part of me had, didn't want to like come to terms with like, hey, this is the reality of like making selfish decisions. You make these decisions in life based on like your own greater good, but then once, like factors like people you care about and the people around you in general, friends, family, etc. It starts to become it starts to become more difficult because you have more people you need to show up for. But at the same time, I know I'm not obligated to, but it's like a part of like caring that kind of is like a double-edged sword in a way. And yeah, I mean, it's cool. We me and my girlfriend, we have a place, and that's really solid. I really enjoy living with her. We have two cats, which is dope. But I think at the same time too, like I'm able to pay my bills. I'm able to support and put in my end, But at the same time, now where I'm at as far as career path and like just like I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? As far as like self fulfillment, like career wise, I'm just like kind of like in a hole, you know? Like it's cool getting a job where you can pay for what you need to pay for. Like I was like living in my car some months, like working in New York, eating like shit, sleeping on floors, the whole nine. And so looking at it, I guess like with hindsight, it's like this situation's pretty cool. As far as that goes, and I know that there's people that would like to be in a situation like this where their biggest problem is I have no fucking idea what career I want, but I have everything else, you know? I mean, like, so that's kind of been tough for me to like wrap my head around. And so I guess me filming this is like a way for me to still have a creative outlet, but like I'm not honestly not really looking like to monetize like that. Like it would be nice to make a career in the creative space, but I realize like a lot of it's fake, you know, and people, this might not be that lucrative, like me just talking about my problems and just life and how I see it. I don't necessarily think it's a way to make millions of dollars. I think it's just a way for me to feel like I'm doing something that I could share with people. Because even with making music, it's like I produce, you know, I could record stuff like that. But I got to a point where after working with all these labels and stuff, it got to a point where I realized it's like the music industry is fake. The creative industry in general, we're all abused. It's all bullshit, which I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but it's like I was working in New York for 6 years off of it. That's how I lived. I made the money off of creative endeavors. Like that's what I did. You know, I didn't have to punch a clock. I didn't have to do anything that I wouldn't say that I didn't want to do because there's a lot of stuff you gotta do that you don't necessarily want to do in life. It doesn't matter what industry you choose, but definitely I guess it sucked in a different way because now that I'm in like this mundane, like I work like 10 hours a day where I'm just delivering all day. That's my job. And it's cool. I listen to podcasts, I read books, I do stuff like that or whatever, but then it kind of like introduces this whole nother layer of like I guess like unsatisfaction. I think that might be a word. I'm just kind of spitballing, but yeah, it gets to the point where I'm like, I'm not really sure if this is like fulfilling, you know? Yeah, I just have this issue too. It's like now that I realize like the creative world and like it's all about views and it's constantly posting, it's constantly letting people know you exist. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna make music and I'm still gonna post stuff or whatever, but I don't know as far as like mental health and like me being my like the sole fucking entity of it where it's like I'm doing the recording, I'm doing the producing, I'm making the content, making the cover art. It's like and people will be like, "Oh, you could just outsource that." But like I'm paycheck to paycheck. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like we live in America, you know what I mean? It's like there are plenty of people doing well, but realistically speaking, it's especially now, it's like it's how can you pay all these people without like label backing? And the majority of people end up getting the label backing. You know what I mean? As far as like whether it's connections or being like willing to move to the city. Like I don't want to live in New York. I'd move to like California, but like New York, dude, ugh. Like I don't like New York like that. Like it's a concrete prison. Like people look at it as there's so many opportunities, which there is, but like it doesn't appeal to me. Like I want to see, and I people like rebuttal this all day, but it's like I want to see like the ocean. I want to see like all these different scenes. Like I don't want to wake up every day. I think I did it. I mean, mind you, I was in my fucking car sleeping in like the Bronx and fucking Harlem and Brooklyn, which was probably the nicest out of the bunch. But yeah, like I was doing it. I was sleeping in my car. I was doing all this stuff. Like I didn't want to live out there. Like it's just not. It wasn't something that I seen myself doing. As far as after experiencing it, like in the beginning, it's so fucking cool because you're in the city. You've seen it on TV your whole life, and obviously, like fucking, I live like a state away. It's like if I hop on the train, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours most. Um, but it gets to this point where it's like the pizzazz, the mystification just kind of like disappeared. Like I'm there, like it's dirty. Like cool, I met a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of amazing companies. I'm not saying anything bad about the years I spent grinding it out there, but I also seen like the dark shit that comes with it. That like if you live in the city and you're making the money out there, it's no different than people who decide to work a 9 to 5 here in like they're any regular state. You know what I mean? The only difference is you get to post more photos about it on social media so you could show other people that, oh, I'm doing cool stuff, which, sure, like, it's fine. Like, there's opportunity. You can get brand deals, you can get more jobs, you can do whatever. But at the same time, it's like you can acquire that same life here. And most creatives, I mean, being like a millionaire is like in that top 1%, it's like it doesn't happen for everybody. So there's a lot of people that slip through the cracks. It happens every single fucking day. And so at that point, it's like having a job isn't really as bad as I always thought it was. I used to, I'd rather struggle than go to a 9 to 5. Now I'm at a 9 to 5 and it kind of sucks. But like I have more time to do things in general. Like I wasn't enjoying life when I was doing that stuff. Um, I mean, I got to like fly around. We travel all over the place, whatever. But it was always on work, and like I was working with my best friends, So it was a unique experience in that way. Not a lot of people could say that, but at the same time, like you have all these cool experiences, but then like you're sleeping on a floor eating fucking gas station food. Like I still eat gas station food, but at least I have a bed, which is unique to my experience. And I have like amenities and things. I'd piss in bottles and shit. Like, shower in fucking truck stop gas stations. Like, it was, but it was cool. Like, I got to go to like penthouses, this and that. Like, the people you meet off of living in that space, it's like awesome. It's really cool. It's just a whole ecosystem, but at the same time, it's only sustainable for like the 1% that build a brand. And 9 times out of 10, like, especially with music, like, but I guess in general, if you don't have a brand, like yourself being the brand, like it gets to a point where you're disposable. And so that was like something I started realizing over time. I was like, I am a disposable asset. Like, like I'm valuable, but you could replace me. And I know that's like how every job is, but at least I'm consistently getting paid, you know? And so yeah, I have all this gear and stuff still, so I figured I'd put it to use. And that was kind of like the whole uh I guess the whole idea of this like is like I don't need anything fancy. I could set up my camera. I next time I'll probably set up two cameras just so I have some different views. It could be more like an interview and less like hey, this is me in my fucking kitchen or whatever the fuck this is, living room. But I do feel like as time goes on, I'll do more things depending on if I feel like it. That's the biggest thing. Like I'm not even gonna color this footage, I don't think. Almost like my own interview for myself. Just so I could have it, understand how I was feeling today. I could look back at these things and just be like, hey, this is where I was at in life. And it's kind of like another And I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's also like a talking point on like, hey, I existed, you know? But yeah, it's just more so something bigger than me. I think that's the biggest thing out of this. And it's like, there's so many things to do in life. And it's like, I want to do everything that I feel like I could do. And that's something that I've always struggled with. And like my depression like would stem from that. Like I'm pretty good headspace right now, but like in general, when I'm not doing something to better myself, and I'm sure whether that be like education or people, climbing up the ladder at their corporate job or whatever the fuck they decide to do. I think you need that growth, that development because like I look at a lot of people and I'm like, well, and there's a lot of people who they look at their life and they're super cool with that. And for me that's always been like something I've chased, where I've wanted to have more, be more, do more kind of thing. And then you throw in social media in that equation and you start seeing people who are clearly, let's just say, like fucking driving around in multi-million-dollar cars and traveling all over the world. And I think the thing that I had to come to terms with is like once I started seeing and meeting a lot of these people who their online persona showed them to be these fucking bigger than life personalities with an even bigger bank account. It was like I started to realize, oh, there's plenty of debt behind that. There's a lot of failure. There's a lot of things that they don't show. And so I feel like I've kind of leveled with myself in a way where I see life as more of like it's a quality of life thing for me honestly at this point. And it's like as long as I can have a solid quality of life and be at a position where I feel like, and I don't like to say like a dollar amount is makes you worthy, like if you have millions in the bank or whatever, but something where I can become sustainable and whatever that be. Like I said, I don't necessarily think that um I'm interested in the notion of like being this personality on the internet. Um it's interesting, it's cool, right? A lot of people do it and they're successful and there's a lot that do it that aren't. But I think at the same time I just want to achieve something where I can look back on and be like, wow, like I did that, And I think that's where a lot of people are in life. It's like when you're living, especially in America, I mean, a majority of Americans are middle to lower class. There's a small percentage that are actually, I guess, considered wealthy. There are people that are doing well, but considered wealthy is a whole different ball game. And so to understand that is like to understand like, hey, this is where a majority of people are at. So what that 1% lifestyle that I'm looking at, it's not that you can't achieve it, but try to enjoy where you're at now in life too. Because like I've seen so many people and like just being in the industry, you see a bunch of these people who end up making a lot of money and they're still miserable. And like there's a lot of like core values that they just never connected with as far as like dealing with their mental health and drug problems and whatever else there is, relationship issues, stuff like that, where it gets to the point where like you can have all this money and it still won't fix anything. And so that's kind of like, and a lot, trust me, I'm not saying having a bunch of money, like I would love to hit the lotto, like that would transform my life. But at the same time, too, it's like when you stack up your issues against like the bigger picture, they're pretty small. Like we're only on this planet for, let's just say, and I think for males, it's in America anyway, it's like mid 70s. I think women push past 80, like maybe like mid 80s, I think it was, or 80 or 80 plus, whatever the fuck it is. I don't think it matters. But my point is like I've come to terms with reality as far as our time is so fucking limited on this planet. Where, I mean, you think of all the generations that came before us. That's like thousands of years worth of, and I'm talking all the way back to like fucking Neanderthals and shit. But it's a long amount of time, and they were only here for a snap of the finger, and I didn't snap, so it wouldn't fuck up the audio. But maybe I could add it in post or whatever. But such a small period of time where I just don't think it matters. Like I just like I want to like help people. Like that's something that's like I wouldn't say new to me. I've always been like outgoing in that way. But at the same time too, it's like even when I'm broke, I'll try and help, and I don't really like when I see those videos of people going out of their way to give something to someone, but then they end up filming the whole interaction. It just feels weird. Apparently it's good for views, I guess, but I don't know how like the moral aspect of it is. I feel like it's kind of like fucked up. And so it's something I don't like talking about it. I'll just do it and keep it moving. Um but yeah, I don't know. I guess the whole basis of this is just kind of to explore my brain in a little bit more depth every week so I could really see and understand myself better. Like I started going to therapy, I think about a month or so ago. And that's been super helpful for not only like relationship stuff, and I'm not saying like with my significant other, I'm even saying with my family, because like I don't know who has a perfect family, but if it looks like it, it's probably not. And it's something that's completely normal. I feel like across every family, everybody has their issues and things. Um, but yeah, therapy has been super helpful. It's really helped me navigate a lot of things, and a lot of the times too, it's just talking it out helps. So I was like, well, if I could do this in front of a camera, I might have to review the footage and stuff. I feel like that's also a way for me to kind of keep myself accountable, you know, or hold myself accountable. And like I'm not really gonna edit these much. It's gonna be pretty raw. One stable shot. There's not gonna be a whole lot of storytelling as far as like here's point A, point B. It's almost gonna be like a ramble format where I kind of just yap. Like I think yapping. I hate the word vlog, but it's like because I'm not showing me walking around doing stuff. Like it's not something I'm interested in, and maybe one day I will. But as of right now, yeah, I just want to document my life